insurance. If there's no other questions, we can vote on it. All in favor? Raise your hand, say yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then the second thing is, Wayne, maybe you'd want to talk a second on that second item on our old business.
Yes, I will keep this very short. So at the September meeting, Eileen was tasked with developing a policy for Class 2 e-bikes. And she wrote it. The insurer asked that we have some kind of waiver for people acknowledging that Class 2 e-bikes are not covered by insurance, either medical insurance or our liability insurance. So that waiver has been reviewed by written by Eileen, reviewed by me and Phil and Tony and Mark, and I make a motion that we approve this as the new Class 2 e-bike policy.
Wayne,
Yes.
before we vote on it, I just read not only the policy is fine. It's a waiver. I think there should be some indemnification language in it. It says to sue. Indemnification is a lot stronger. And I think
okay, you could add to that. Now, it was written, that part was basically from the insurer.
oh, is that right?
If you want to add something to make it stronger, I think that would be good. We don't want to water it down, I think.
Right. No, I don't think either. I think we just want them to indemnify us if they get in an accident against third parties. That's what I'm concerned about, not the participant, the third party that they get in a wreck with coming after us. And that's what indemnification will do. So I'll work with you on some words, but I think we can approve the policy. The policy's fine.
Yeah, I just
Okay, so
had a question
yeah,
for you, Wayne. So let's just put ourselves, we all show up at a ride at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, and the ride leader's got a sheet there to sign up as people. What do we expect of our ride leaders when it comes to this? Because I'll be honest with you, I could get run over by a Class 2 bike and I wouldn't even know what it was. I mean, I don't even know what one looks like. So I would never be able to figure that out right now.
Yep. And the insurance company and the League of Bicyclists recognize that. So I think the only thing we can do is make this part of annual registration. Like you sign your waiver and you acknowledge this e-bike policy, and then you're good for the year. Because I can't tell what a Class 2 e-bike is, and I agree we can't expect the ride leaders to differentiate between a Class 2 and a Class 1 and a Class 3.
I like that approach.
Yeah, I've got a simple definition for Class 2. If somebody's not pedaling and still going forward motion and not pedaling, that is a Class 2 bike. And if it's uphill and they're not pedaling and they're going uphill, that even shows it even more that it's Class 2 bike. So they have bikes that have Class 1 and 2 modes in them. And if they slip it into Class 1 mode and they're always pedaling, then that's not a problem. If they slip it into the second mode where it's Class 2 mode and they quit pedaling and they're still making forward motion, then that's where we have to ask them to go to the back or not ride with us if they're going to do that. And so it's going to have to be at the time you see that action, the ride leader would have to step up and say it. But if they sign to start with that they're not going to ride a Class 2 bike, then we're covered for that. So we've got a pretty good policy written on that, and it's been circulated around. Do we want to go ahead and have a vote on to approve that policy to be added to our website and our ride? I guess it's to the website, right? Is that when we register for the club?
I have a question, and
Sure.
I'm sorry, I did not read the, what was sent to us well enough. If class 1 and 3, do they need to be in the back of the pace line as well? I know 2 does.
No, that
think-
was one of the things that came out of Eileen's review is
Okay,
basically we will apply the same diligence in policing ourselves in the rides
Yeah.
on e-bikes as we do pedal only bikes.
Yeah.
So there's no distinction between e-bikes and between e-bikes and pedal bikes.
okay,
Correct. And so what that means is we're going to rely on the club members and the ride leader to police it if there's bad action, bad behavior, to ask them to ride better or ride at the back. You do the same thing for non-electric bike. You would ask if the ride in the back if they had a behavior that wasn't good.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So that we've got a vote on that to add that to our registration for the e-bikes as it was written.
All in favor, say.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so if we can go on to the new business there and have Tony give us our budget, proposed budget, and we could get that approved. Go
Okay,
ahead, Tony.
Let me see if I can bring it up on the screen.
You want to share your screen, Tony?
That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, the host has disabled screen sharing. Sandy, can you turn it back on?
That's what I was just asking you. Yes, you should be good.
Well, that obviously isn't it. Hold on. Y'all see that?
No.
No,
No.
Oh, well, it's on mine. Okay, I get rid of this one here.
And can I try it, Tony?
Yeah, go for it.
Is that
There
it?
it goes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, let me see if we can we get any bigger, Dwayne? Oh, okay, I can get it bigger down here just a second.
How about that?
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that should do it. Okay, let's there's a lot of stuff here. With our time limitations, let's try to keep it down. Okay, so we've finished and really closed the books on 2021. We had a good year. We've got a total of $26,900 in the bank. There are no outstanding checks. In other words, no adjustments. So that is the balance. The books are totally balanced. And let me come down here a little bit more. Okay, so looking at the funds flow, this shows the various sources of the funds coming in. Really, the two big areas, of course, are membership dues and the Tour de Blueberry registration. Plus, with the Tour de Blueberry, of course, we were having some donations that were coming in. And so if you look at the total numbers for the year, come on down, Wayne, if you're doing that. Okay, so we had a profit or loss of 1372. The bank balance said 1373. So we balanced within $1, and the only difference is the bank counts the pennies. I do not. Any questions on that?
yeah. If we didn't have Tour de Blueberry, would we be able to cover all our expenses?
Yes, we would. Let's carry that to the next item. We did not, okay. Here is a comparison of 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. So in 2021, we had $7,546 come in. I'm going to enlarge that a little bit more.
I can see, that's good.
Is that good enough?
Yeah,
You
Okay.
mean, you,
Screen
do you
is-
mean zoom in, Tony? The text is not readable? How about that?
Okay,
That's
that's
good.
much better. That's much better. So we had 7546. We exceeded budget by quite a bit. That's because our registration went up tremendously. We based it on less than 300 people registering, and we had over 400. The 2022 budget, we are proposing to base it on 400 400 registrations. That's really a mix of 3-year registrations and 1-year registration. But between that, we would generate hopefully $8,000. We have budgeted a small amount of money coming in for the as a pass-through to the Terry Benji Foundation. That money has already come in. You can see it here in the on the right, and it was passed through to Terry Benji. And we have budgeted some money coming in for a fall dinner, which we had in previous years. Last year, of course, we didn't have the fall dinner. We had the self-funded picnic or dinner at the club. But this year I put in enough money, assuming that we would have a sit-down dinner like we've had in 2019. So that's where the money is. Now, to answer your question, do we have enough money coming in from the registration without a Tour de Blueberry? The answer is really yes. The way the budget, at least I have looked at it, and I struggled with this for quite a while, is to say, okay, the Tour de Blueberry money is primarily directed towards raising money for donations. And the portion you see right this minute coming up, we are budgeting $11,800. That includes no money for the Tour de Blueberry, from the Tour de Blueberry. So we would have a $2,000 drawdown. Now, if the Tour de Blueberry was really successful, we could hold a bit of that money. My assumption is that we would keep it all. Now, this is all that you're seeing there is Tour de Blueberry, and we'll go into their budget in a minute. Bring me back up, Wayne. Let's take a look at a couple items. I want to talk about just 2 or 3 quick items. A little higher. Bring it up. Okay, right there. The one I want to discuss is the insurance. Now, we already discussed and agreed that we are going to increase or include the off-road biking. And that's good. That was $200. There's another $300 that's associated with instructor training. And this I wanted to kick to Kitty. Is our training ever involved on bikes? In other words, you're going to have any of the participants on a bicycle? If so, then we need to include that in our insurance. It has not been in there in previous period. If it's just classroom training, then we don't need to have that.
no, there will be bike training, but LCI will cover that. Yeah, that was something that was addressed at the LCI training. Is if the bike safety 101 is being conducted by a certified LCI instructor, we can utilize insurance from them.
Kitty, how about the rodeos? That's on bike.
No, LCI, the league does not cover anything for bike rodeos.
Yeah, the other thing is when you fill out the application, which I did, they ask you if all the events are going to be handled by an LCI, and I said yes. but they still hit us when I said, filled in that there would be on-bike training. They still hit us for another $300, which I think is fine. I think this is a question of safety first.
Yeah,
We-
I'd say just go with it then, because we know we're covered. And if we have additional coverage from the league, then we're just that much to the good.
Okay, yeah, I think some belt and suspenders, same thing. Okay, so then I think we have to go with a higher number, and that's part of our budget increase. We've got the money in here for the pamphlets. We got money in here now for a fall meeting of $2,000. In addition to asking the participants to pay $1,200, and that comes up to the number. There's probably a few things that will not occur, but I think this is a conservative budget. We've also got the $700 in there to fix the trailer. So if there's no more questions on that, that's what the proposed expenditures are, approximately $12,000. And if the assumption's right on the income, we'll bring in about 10,000. We have close to 27,000, as I showed, would bring us down to about 25,000 if we send all the Tour de Blueberry money to donations. Okay, bring it on down if you would. Let's just, okay, so this is a consolidated budget. This is all money in from the Tour de Blueberry, and I'll go into their budget in a minute. One point I want to make. All the monies from the Tour de Blueberry flow through the club budget. If for some reason the Tour de Blueberry was not successful, the club bears that burden and bears that risk. And but that's the way it's always been. But just so everybody's aware of that. So these are total expenses for the year. And our changing cash position with this budget would be $2,000. The Tour de Blueberry, I've assumed that we would make about $7,000 on it, and I'll show you the budget in a second. But that would all be given out to donations, 3,500 being given to the Terry Benji, plus the 500 that's already been given to them, which is $4,000, and we would then give the balance to our partners. Let's go down to the next page, if there's no more questions on this. Okay, so what we assumed here is that this is in 2019, we had 574 people. In 2021, we had 258 plus 55 in the virtual. I've assumed we would have a public Tour de Blueberry with 400 participants, 50 in the virtual, and that we run the same donation scheme that we ran before, 2,000, bringing us in about $20,000. If we do better, of course, we have some upside. If we don't do as well, we're going to have to probably cut down some of the variable costs, which are the meals, the t-shirts, to line up with the number of participants we have to limit our to, you know, be able to maximize what we do generate in positive cash out of it. Any comments on that, Beth?
So I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One is, I see that you have not budgeted for the meals gratuity.
Right. I never understood that.
So it is a common practice to tip and use a gratuity for any service-based business at a ride, and that is where that comes from. So we can't have meals if we don't have gratuity. So we will need to add that to this budget.
Okay, so we can add that maybe $500 in there. It could be, I put in you know, $12.50 a meal, which is higher than what we paid out at the fall picnic, I believe. And those numbers all together, is there enough money in the 5,000 to cover a gratuity, or do we need to put some dollars in under the gratuity?
I mean, it would be probably based on the number of meals that we had to order based on the number of riders that we have. So, $12.50 per rider is, I mean, for a meal itself is actually pretty fair. We have gotten like as low as $10 per rider for lunches. But that's something that I see as a non-negotiable, that we have to pay the vendors a gratuity.
Okay,
So I don't know if I mean, I've
Well,
always done it based on the number of riders. It's not necessarily stuck to the,
well, okay.
I just want to know like that is actually, here's my overall question is, if we pass this budget for the Tour de Blueberry, am I stuck to it? Because there are also some things that come up that, like for the promotions, for the medals and other souvenirs, I doubt we will have the medals this year. Like, it's probably one of those things that it was, because it was a virtual event last year, it was a plus. Everybody loved them, but we don't necessarily have to have them. But the money that we could do for promotions could also help offset having blueberries for every rider. We might not have to pay the full amount to have a pint of blueberries for each person, but we could also supplement that. So I also don't want to get rid of that category necessarily as a draw, as something unique to our ride that people would be drawn to it and to do it. So I guess my question is, if we,
Blueberries fall under promotions.
it would, so last year they were donated to us. 500 pints of blueberries were donated to us, but this year I have a feeling that we might have to supplement that. If I were to do it, it would be like, could we pay half? So I don't want to get rid of that category and put it as a null if we can somehow make that happen.
We we can certainly make it happen. It's going to come out of the donation. So I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's a doable thing.
I don't think it would come out of the donations. I think it would come out of the rider's fee, the $45 or the $40 that they pay. It would not come out of the donations section, like the $2,100 that we had last year.
I'm missing something with you. The way the thing works is, I mean, we can put more money in for promotions, and it's going to raise the total expense, which will make the profit before donations higher. So
okay, so then my big question goes back
is bring us down, Wayne, or see if I can. Okay, so the net way, without adding any more expense, is about $5,000, and we get another 2,000 off donations. So we have about 7,000. Last year, we only had 3,000 and 2,500 is what we spent. So we spent 5,500. This year we would have 7,000. Of course, you have more people, you're going to have more money. And it's this thing. It's very difficult. The point is, I've allocated the entire amount of money that the Tour de Blueberry nets out to the donations to our partners and donations to the Terry Benji Foundation. So the point of the matter is, if we spend more, we'll have less to spend in these categories. And if we have less, and if we get below zero, then it's going to come out of the club funds.
I sure don't see that happening, Tony. I think that it's a variable that we've got going on here that is just unexplainable at this point. And if we look at what we've done in the past as always being a profitable event, I'm sure that this year would be the same. I was questioning the amount that we paid $60 to last year for our event. And if that's the price we charged this year, 65 for this day of sign up for the event, I don't see there's any problem in hashing out definite numbers on how much we'll be able to donate to people at the end of this. I think we've got within 2,000 of covering our expenses with the amount of money coming in with the registration for our club to cover our club expenses. So I think it's going to go down to, we're going to have another meeting where we finalize some of the expenses before this is finalized. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the point where we would finalize the expenses for the Tour de Blueberry or not.
I think Beth's question.
I totally agree with you. I mean, a budget is nothing but a plan. And
That's right.
Plans are made to be changed. It's just you're putting a straw man in. What I'm hearing from Beth is that she would like a couple more categories put in there, and I'm fine with that. And there's, to make the book balance, we're either going to have to cut the donation to partners and the donations to TDB in this straw man, or we're going to have to raise the income side or cut some other expense. I mean, the whole idea here is that the Tour de Blueberry is a net zero to the plant, to the club. The club has to survive, and the club can survive on its registrations. But to draw upon the club funds to put that at risk on the Tour de Blueberry, I don't think we should go that far. I think, but I do totally agree with you that as registrations come in, we start messing around with the expenses. And if we have more money coming in, we have more to spend. It's that simple.
I am pro jerseys and t-shirts and blueberries. I'm not big on medallions. So I think we should have some money for promotions, like if blueberries fall under promotions, then
Yeah,
let's put some budget in for blueberries.
Well, then we should just put a general line in there as promotions. Yeah, I had the same feeling as you, Wayne, that the medal didn't mean much to me. I would rather have cut a bunch of blueberries, but it was what it was.
And the great thing is about 2021 is you got both. And
That's
the
right.
medals were great and the blueberries were amazing.
Yes, they were.
If you were in the let's hear from the Terry Benji Foundation. If you were Terry Benji, would you rather have another $2,000 or medals? This is something you're waiting.
I'll speak for the Benji Foundation. Eileen couldn't make this meeting. Having been involved with the Tour de Blueberry ever since it started, the club should never bear, as Tony just said, the club should not bear a loss from the Tour de Blueberry. Anything that's made on it then can become a donation. As far as whether it's blueberries or medals or whatever like that, the Benji Foundation doesn't care on that. I think I would leave that up to Beth. Beth knows what the participants are really interested in.
I just kind of curious. Seems like we got off at Beth's point. She was asking about gratuity, and she said that's something we have to spend. So and it's zero right now. And I think that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Beth, but that's kind of what you're asking about, wasn't it? It's an expense we're going to incur, so we got to figure it out and accommodate it somehow.
That is correct. But yeah, it is
And
it is part of what we do.
And it was like $380 last time. So maybe it's 500 this time. I don't know, but in context of the overall budget, it doesn't seem like it's staggering.
Well, well, there's two items here we were talking about. One was the gratuity. And so, and if that's the practice, we definitely need to add the gratuity. And if we want to add a couple $1,000s into promotions, then it's to make the thing budget and not to go, or to balance and not go into the club funds. We'll just have to reduce these lower areas of the donations to partners and the donations to the Terry Benji Foundation, or we're gonna have to have more people come in and register.
Well, if we reduce those donations and we make more money than we planned, then everything falls back into place.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So let's just do that. And, you know, we beat this horse pretty hard.
Yeah, I think we're on the right track with that, Bill, as far as if we make more money, then there's more money to donate. And Al just said that he didn't care if the donation was there or for the medals. And Beth is putting it together as she did last year, which included the medals and the promotions. And is something that she knows a little bit about from the Ironman experience and the racing experience she does that people come in with. So I guess we should kind of move on with this and maybe have the amount that we spent last year in that category of promotions and the gratuities added to this year's budget.
Okay, let's do it.
And agree
Let's
that,
just adjust these bottom line donations to partners and the Terry Benji Foundation donation reduced to compensate, so it's a zero sum. And
yeah, I
if
think that's important that we say that the intention of the Tour de Blueberry is to be a net zero.
right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And that's why I tried to split the two and give them somewhat separate budget, but then reconsolidate it. Not really look at it as a fundraiser for the club per se, but a club raiser for the donations that we're going to make. And the Terry Benji Foundation is really an extension of the club. It's our donation arm, so to speak.
I think we need to make do a better job of publicizing to the riders and our members that a large fraction of the registration cost goes to these charities. I don't think a lot of the riders understand that what they pay for registration isn't coming back as food, t-shirts and medals, but it's going. Yeah.
I will say that every other email that I sent out about the Tour de Blueberry had who we gave to the previous year, and I intend to do that again. I mean, every email that I could fit it into was, this does not go to admin, it goes to these folks. So
Yep.
I mean, we do advertise it, and we do say that a large profit, I mean, the percentage of profit that we make goes totally to these different organizations. So they know if they read the emails, which is not likely, but they know if they read the email.
Correct.
Should we go even stronger, since Tony has a budget, he's factoring in donations in the budget. Could we say our plan for this year is to donate X% to charities based on the budget?
Why would we want to do that? I don't see any purpose in doing that.
No, I don't either.
Okay, well, if we don't say that's our goal, can we say based on last year, we donated X% of the registration costs to charities?
I don't think we need to be that specific. I mean, we talk about where the money goes, and Beth does a great job of outlining that in all of the emails, as she's just said. And I think people know that because the Blueberry is such popular ride. I don't think we need to lock ourselves into that kind of language at this point.
Well, it wouldn't be locking anything in if we talked about history.
I think
it
this
would-
is a budget discussion, Wayne, so I know we're
Right,
talking
okay.
about how we get the percentages down. Tony,
Yeah.
could you give us a summary of where we're going so we could possibly
Okay,
bring this to a vote and approval?
I think the club, but first of all, the club each year has a budgeting process, and the board needs to approve the budget in aggregate. I would propose that we adjust the Tour de Blueberry numbers. The composite budget is the same. This breakdown on the Tour de Blueberry is nothing but a straw man plan. Is that with the understanding that we'll put the money back in the gratuity, we'll put money in the promotions, and we'll just adjust the bottom line down there so that the Tour de Blueberry is net zero. If everybody likes 400 people, if we have 500 people, it'll be super. If we get down to 300 people, we'll have to trim down some of the variable expenses. That's all it is to it. But and Tour down and reduce the donation. But the Tour de Blueberry basically is a standalone to support donations to the community. And that the club functions on the getting enough money in from its registrations to cover its administrative expenses, and insurance is the biggest of those.
I think that's
Okay,
very
so-
well. That's very
Yeah,
well.
so could I ask for a motion to approve the part, I'm gonna call it Part A, the first part, the expenses that don't involve the Tour de Blueberry. Could I ask for a motion and a second and a vote on that, whether we approve that first part of the budget? And we have to go back to full screen to,
Al makes that motion.
I
and
second
we
it.
have to go back to full screen to get that? Okay, could I have the full screen so I could see the hands?
Oh, I'm on full
Take-
screen.
Hang
Yeah,
on,
okay.
hang on.
Yeah, I got budget report up going on here.
Yeah, I'm not getting it off.
Wayne, can you take off the budget?
I'm
the share
trying,
screen?
I'm trying.
Okay,
Apparently, yeah, okay, we're good.
Thank
there we
you.
go. All
I just
right,
knocked
how
it
about
down.
that second? Then all in favor of this, the first half of the budget here? Let's look at it that way. I think we all are liking those expenses. We're gonna pay that. We're gonna come up with about a $2,000 loss for what we perceive are gonna be our income with our registration. Then we've got this second part of this budget with the Tour de Blueberry, like Tony kept saying, a straw man, a proposed budget. And we're going to make a change on the gratuities and the promotions and add those two items in. Can I get a motion and a second for that to be approved?
I make a motion
Mhm.
for what you just said, Phil.
Okay, great,
You
great.
said it great.
And all in favor of that. So I think our budget's approved at this point. So let's go ahead and move on to, I've got here,
Excuse me, Phil,
Mark, Johnny. Sure.
Phil,
Mhm.
sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. May I please ask Beth a quick question regarding the gratuities and these food trucks?
Sure.
In the two that I have worked with for our social events, no one has ever talked to me about a gratuity. Have I been remiss? I've never paid them that. Is that on me, or should I ask them about it in the future?
I just assume that with any service industry, you, especially with food, you pay a gratuity.
And it makes perfect sense. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are out there, like for us on the Tour de Blueberry Day, they are out there in their little RV, serving sandwiches or barbecue all day. And
I know.
so I just
And
factor that in.
You see the glass jar on the counter, for gratuities, but we have no idea how many people choose to contribute. So thank you for that. I will ask, should we be utilizing food service trucks in the future for future events. I will definitely ask about it.
Let me comment on that, Linda. If you recall, at least on the spring outing, we had given them a guarantee.
Yes, correct.
These are freestanding entrepreneurs, and we gave them a guarantee, and there was not enough money that came in from the people that bought lunches, and the club stood up and we paid them the balance of what the guarantee was. Isn't that the same situation that Beth, you have, that we are guaranteeing them, and that's kind of an all-in number?
I
That's why I
guess
said we didn't have
that
to
you
give
factor that in, yes. I mean, I guess we could see it that way, but it's still gonna be a 20% gratuity on the sales of the food per person.
Isn't
Okay.
that in the all-in number or in their price of the meals?
It is not factored into the price of the meals.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to our
Thank you.
Johnny and our ride coordinator report. If he's got anything to
Yeah,
tell us
thank
about the
you.
calendar and the ride.
I will. First of all, it's really nice to see all of you too. It's been a while, so it's good to see you all. You probably noticed that I'm populating the calendar. I went out and did the first quarter, and now that January is over, I'll start adding rides into April, and I'll probably stay that far ahead. Although there are some rides, like Beth, don't be mortified. I plugged the Tour to Blueberry in there, so I didn't accidentally schedule something on top of that. So what's in there's nothing close to the nice work you do on that advertisement. But I think the other thing is I've been working with Phil and Bill and Wayne talking about the maps that are in the website. And I put together spreadsheets, probably mind numbing, huh Phil? But there's it's unbelievable how many maps are in there, and then they all have different names in some ways, and so not all of them, a lot of them are close. So I feel like we need to clean that up, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. And then I learned during the year that a lot of riders show up to the rides that are really experienced on some of the rides, and they say, well, the maps that we're using are outdated and there's better routes. So that's the next step, to try to figure out which ones those are and get them cleaned up. And then we're always anxious to get new rides. But I'd also say I think there's some maps and rides on our website that I think many of the riders would say we should never ride those again. So we need to figure out what those are. And then there's a lot of people that talk to me about new rides and new maps and rides for various types and skill levels of riders. So I really like to try to figure out if we can embrace those and get some of those incorporated into our calendar. So high level, I've been working with, like I said, Phil, Bill, and Wayne, just to kind of figure out how we do this, because I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think it needs to be done. And then let's see here. There's still a pretty limited number of ride leaders. It's kind of the regulars, if you will. I think Phil probably rides every ride we ever have, unless he's not feeling well or something, but it's always good that he's there. And we're really trying to name at least 2 people per ride in case somebody is not up to it or sick or something like that. I think it works well on the Saturday rides. I think we're actually attracting more people because I think there was a point in time where the Saturday rides were viewed as just A riders, and the people like me that are not an A rider, and even people that are slower than me, which are not many. I think they're intimidated. So with the 2 of us out there, usually I'm there, Phil's there. We seem to get its coverage for any pace of rider that wants to give it a shot. So we really could use some help on ride leaders and recruiting them. And then I guess finally, the only other thing I had is, Kitty, I sent you an email probably, I don't know if it was December or January, and I asked if you had any, I'd really like to get the safety 101s and the rodeo stuff on the calendar so people are aware of it in advance. Because I know for me, last year was a complete surprise.
Yeah, I'm working on dates, but I don't have any definite dates right now.
All right,
mean,
well,
as
just
soon
let
as
me
I-
know.
Absolutely. As soon as I get dates, I'll give them to you, but it's just with the holidays and waiting to hear back from people, confirmations, and I can talk about that just a little bit more. But as soon as I have
Right.
anything definite, I will absolutely get it to you.
Okay, I don't have anything else, Bill, unless anybody has questions for me.
Great. Is there any questions for Mark? Ride leaders calendar. All right, well then let's move on to see what Beth has for us more on Tour de Blueberry
I
or
will make-
special events in general.
There we go. I will make this very short. I am getting ready to launch our emails and kind of the promotional part of getting ready for the Tour de Blueberry. The great news is we already have 8 people signed up.
Yay!
Without sending out anything, we've already made $505. So that is very exciting. And of course, after this meeting is when I usually send out the information that we are having a live ride. We will have a virtual ride this year as well, just to coincide. And I have some promotional ideas to like help get that going. But yeah, so I plan on just start promoting it from here and see where it goes. And it's already on the calendar for next year, so you can start signing up.
What is the date? Beth, what is
Date
the date?
is I think it's the 18th. Yes, it's the 18th of June.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Could be bigger than anything we've ever done before.
Could be
Like
the biggest one we've
700
ever
people.
had.
Because there's more bikes out there, more bike sales, more bike people at the Tour de
Yep.
Blueberry.
Yeah.
Could be.
And people just want to get out and ride their bikes because
Mhm.
we've been cooped up for so long.
Sure enough. Thank you, Beth. And then we have Bill Culpepper with any website. I saw that graph you put up, Bill.
Yeah, just very quickly, I put a graph out, shows the actual login visits, just login visits, not random visits. From 2017 through January of 22. And there is a downward trend, and I will say that that's probably due to COVID and Slack. People are using Slack like crazy. That's all.
Yeah. I have people ask me about Slack all the time and how do you get on it? And I try to refer them to our membership chairman, Sandy, and get people hooked up with it. I guess they get an invite to it, Sandy, when they first join the club. They renew their registration.
Yes, once I get a new member request, I will shepherd that through and invite them to Slack as well. So can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what you want to do is compare November 21st, basically the end of the year, last year, 404 active members and 210 active slackers. And here in January, 406 active club members, 220 slack. So it hasn't changed much in the last couple of months, no surprise, but it's still strong. And I guess that's the message.
That's great. I like where it says 99 new members. There's 100 new members from last year.
Right.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Mhm.
That's a good side effect of COVID, I think.
Mhm.
That'll make one.
Definitely recovered from COVID.
So that's it, unless there's a question.
Yeah. Do we have any questions for Bill or Sandy on the website or the membership or Slack? Any questions for them?
I will say that I really love this spreadsheet, and I love that you call them slackers.
Okay, let me see.
Cyclist slackers. I don't know. Cyclist slackers don't go together.
They say
Maybe
it
me.
themselves.
I'm a wheel sucker on the back there. Maybe me. Maybe I am a slacker if I'm always on the back.
Slack's
For
got
sure.
TV ads now.
Mhm.
They're part of
Yeah.
Salesforce.com.
I really enjoy it myself. Brings us to Linda.
Yes.
Would you like to say something
No, I
about our
have no
social?
report, sweetie. None, nothing.
Okay, so
Well,
what,
regarding social, the next thing that comes up is social. So we have to see what's going on with COVID numbers.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it probably. Well, our next meeting is in March, and by that time, things should be pretty much confirmed. So
The 99th surge will be here.
I'm sorry, what, Bill?
The 99th surge will be here by then.
Please,
let's hope,
Please.
you don't need to hear that.
let's hope we can just have a night.
It can be, spring, summer kind of thing. So we have time and
Do you
outdoor.
think it might be something, Linda, something like we did last spring? Something along that line?
I love that. Any ideas? Any other suggestions, ideas?
I thought it was
If
great.
Is doing the same thing too often, is that a bad thing? I don't know. We met at the same place now twice. It's not to me, but what do you think consensus might be?
I say
I
as
like
long as
this
it's
part.
working, keep doing it.
I'm sorry, Sandy, what?
As long as it's working, keep doing it.
Oh, okay. All right, well, there's that. Yeah.
I like the spot.
Oh, it's a great, it is a fabulous spot. I would change it, if it needs to move into the summer, I would change it to later in the day because it was too hot for us that day. And plus we get to utilize the fire pit. And, it introduces a new element to the event. I mean, by doing things, you learn.
You start
different
thinking about some dates, let me know so we can get it on the calendar.
Yeah. And, if numbers continue where they are, they're not rising. So if they stay that way, we can, Mark, get it on the date. I'd feel very comfortable about actually scheduling something a few months out. So yeah, I'll stay on that with you. Springtime should be, the Twitter Blueberry is in June. Probably May. Is that a good time? Or should it be April? I think May.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Phil, May?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
April's
repeat,
still
I would
iffy
say.
with weather. That's all.
Mhm,
Rain and stuff.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm. Are there any questions for Linda on the social calendar we're gonna have? I like the comments already. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you
I thought it was
for
great.
everything.
I
I'll
thought it
just
was great.
move ahead
Now,
in terms of what we did
I would
last year then.
repeat, if we could repeat it. Mhm. Bigger, more people, that
Yeah,
would be nice.
yeah, good.
Okay, well, I've got Eileen down and she's not with us tonight. And so I'm gonna ask Al if he could kind of wrap in some of what Eileen, she had a nice report there. I think some of it overlapped with what you're doing now with the advocacy. If you could fill us in with your report, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, they are. And, in the interest of maintaining the pace of this meeting, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but Eileen submitted a very concise report, which included a couple of, well, actually three very positive things. One was about crosswalks on Oleander Drive. And if you'll read her report, there's going to be 3 new crosswalks along Oleander Drive, one at Pine Grove, the second at Greenville Loop, and the 2 crosswalks will connect bicyclists to New Mup on Greenville Loop Road and serve as connectors to the river to the sea. So let me just back off the specifics for a minute. We've been working this whole thing of trying to make Wilmington and our area more bicycle friendly for a long time. And I am seeing more progress and more positive feedback from the county, from NCDOT, from the city, from all the communities here. Everybody, I guess perhaps it's one of the beneficial byproducts of the COVID and all the people now riding bicycles. We're seeing much more acceptance and interest in providing bicycle facilities. And that's just one example. So I encourage you to read the email that Eileen sent with her summary of some of the things that are going. Let me cut to the, I also sent out a fairly detailed summary of what's going on in Adopt a Highway and advocacy. And let me start with the easy one, the Adopt a Highway. Our most recent pickup was on December 12th. And amazingly enough, it was one beautiful day. It wasn't a day like about 4 days ago. And we had 21 people come out. We tried for the first time, we tried the new routine where instead of hiding the yellow bottle and having prizes and having orange juice and bagels and so on like that, we encouraged everybody to go out and do the pickup. They did it in 42 minutes actually. And they were back into the park there on River Road. We handed out trail bars. Some of them actually a little bit older from the Tour de Blueberry that I got from them. But everybody liked them. The ride got off, and I think that was the big issue, was the ride got off right at 9 o'clock. So there was no delay or anything like that. And it seemed to me, everybody liked it. I would invite anybody that was on that event, to just make comment. And it seemed to me it ran really smoothly. Yeah, okay. Well, Mark says good. Phil, you were there. It seemed to me that there was no pushback about, hey, where's the orange juice or anything. Yeah, okay.
No, it was great.
So given that, I would suggest we continue with that particular procedure, if that sounds like a reasonable way. Okay, the other thing is, and this kind of goes back to what I was just saying. I mean, we're getting a lot of traction on making some improvements around here. The kind of the poster child for this whole thing is the big widening project, making Gordon Road almost a major highway around here. When the DOT Division 3 first announced the new Gordon Road plans, and we were very excited to see this is going to be a MUP, a multiple use path, for 2.5 miles, all the way from Market Street to the intersection there with I-40 coming into town. And that was great. We were really excited about that. But then we took a little closer look. We said, "About wait a minute. What about all those people that live down there in Kings Grant, south of Gordon Road? Thousands of people. How do they get across Gordon Road? Because there was only one crossroad, one crosswalk. How do they move alongside of it, east to west?" And so we raised that question both in the public hearing section, and then also in a meeting that we had with, we asked for a meeting with Chad Kimes and his Division 3 staff. And they said, yeah, this is an early planning stage of this project. And, we're willing to listen to you about adding, bike ped facilities on the south side of Gordon Road. We're willing to listen to you about more crosswalks, so on and so forth like that. But we are fiscally constrained. We only have so much money to spend. I see Mark Johnny shaking his head. He lives that every day. So we said, okay, well, what can we do to help? And Chad Kimes says, go to New Hanover County, because that's New Hanover County property, and see if they won't pony up some money for bike ped facilities on the south side there. Because we can't, NCDOT can't build a crosswalk from one side of a road to the other side unless there's some place to land on both sides. Now, it's going to either be a MUP or a sidewalk or something like that on both sides. So he said, contact Tara Duckworth, and who's the head of New Hanover County Parks and Recreation, and see if they won't consider ponying up some money for bike ped facilities on the south side of Gordon Road. Eileen and I and Adrian and I think Carol Stein met with them, and here again, I'm seeing the sea change of attitude. First of all, they were very interested, and yeah, let's see what we can't do to make it a little more bike friendly on the south side. And they came, and there was a representative also from Chad Kimes' office there on that same meeting. And he said that, yeah, let's work out a cost sharing between NCDOT and New Hanover County. And they came back to us, to Benji Foundation, Cape Fear Cyclists, and said, tell us what you want. And so Carol Stein has put in a lot of time and developed a priority list of where we see there should be crosswalks, where we see there should be bike ped facilities on the south side, in addition to this 2.5 mile long MUP on the north side of Gordon Road. Having that, we said, okay, it's time to meet back with NCDOT. So I sent an email yesterday morning to Chad Kimes and said, hey, we're making some progress. Can we meet again? I got an email back from Chad within about, I think, 2 hours. I said, yeah, let's meet, set it up. And we now have a meeting on the 14th of February to say, okay, here's what the county can do. Here's what the DOT can do. Let's make this a lot better place for, bicyclists and pedestrians all along Gordon Road. So kind of like a long description of, I guess what I'm seeing is much, much more positive responses when we talk to the people that make the decisions. So that's it.
So I've any question. The question I have is: there going to be any bike lanes, or are we just talking about them up on that Gordon Road extension? Do you think is there a bike lane in the plan?
We have raised that about the we need a bike lane. Even though there's a MUP or sidewalks or whatever like that, we have raised that to NCDOT, and they say if there is enough room, in their rights of way and their ability, they will add a bike lane too. And let me just hit the one final really neat one. Is during the meeting with DOT, Eileen raised up the thing is, hey, okay, we got this 2.5 mile long MUP all along Gordon Road, comes up right to Market Street. Then you go across Market Street over to Military Cutoff through some parking lots. What's the big gym thing there, so on and so forth like that. Wouldn't it be neat if you put a MUP through there, almost no cost? All you got to do is paint some lines on the parking lot. And, Chad Kimes says, whoa, that's a great idea. Then you connect to the Military Cutoff MUP, the MUP that goes around the new extension that goes from Military Cutoff going north to Market Street going north. And then the other thing that we heard was, yes, and there are plans for a MUP all the way from there to Torchwood. There we go. I had to think about the road. And the other really neat thing came up out of this was Tara Duckworth said, yeah, and we're making plans for a bike ped facilities all along South College. So things are changing. It's looking a lot better. Okay.
Great. Any questions for Al on the advocacy report?
I just have a small question. Al, when they do some of these repaving projects, do we have any visibility on that? Is there any way to influence them to widen the road just a little bit? Just, last year, they went in and repaved Myrtle Grove Road, but we're left with really no bike path along the side of it. And they could have just added a foot or two with very limited cost. Is there any way to be on top of these paving projects?
Anytime you identify something like that, let me know, let Eileen know, let Adrian Harrington know, and we'll bring it up to DOT. If they could do it, I mean, that's my experience with them over the past 10 years. If they can do it, they will do it. But we have to get in there early.
Right.
Before everything gets locked in, the contracts out there and so on. So when you see an opportunity or a requirement, let one of us know, and then we'll get with DOT right away.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, let's go ahead and hear from our educational chairwoman, Kitty. See what you got anything for us on the bike rodeos?
I've got a lot of requests in, but I have no definite dates. And every time someone reaches out to me, I just tell them that we have to have a date because we've got to assemble a team, and I have to make sure that it's in my calendar, because my calendar is pretty full this year too. So we have a lot of interest, but we don't have anything booked as of today. But I will certainly be alerting everyone as soon as we do get something definite going on. As far as the quarterly Bike 101 safety seminars, I am looking to do the first one by the end of March, because we do have an outdoor bike riding component, and I want to make it so people can ride outside, especially if we still have cold weather going into March. But the one that we held at Curie Beach Community Center was great, but the ride location was not great. So that's kind of my bottom line. It's got to be a place that people can get a ride in, so we can do some of the things that we discuss. So again, working on it. I've got requests out. I'm hoping that there'll be, confirmations will be coming in soon. But I just haven't been able to pin anybody down yet. And if anybody has any questions, ask away.
Yes, how many, could we have 2 bike rodeos a year? Or safety classes, two or 3, or is
My
there some
goal
idea?
is to have 1 safety class a quarter. So 4 for the year.
Okay.
I really think that Cape Fear Cyclists, we really want to market to our membership and anybody who's a ride leader. I think they really should take the class, because Phil, as you know, you learn new things, and it's a safety issue for people that are being ride leaders. But my goal is to have 1 a quarter.
Mm-hmm. And then at the bottom of Val's report, there was a question about the kids garden for kids, Saturday, April 9th. Is that set in motion? Should that be on the calendar?
I'm sorry, I missed that. I don't know what that is.
Actually, Kitty, you were on a competitive event when this all came up. Mo down there in Curie Beach has made, got funding from Curie Beach, and in conjunction with their 75th anniversary, they're going to have kind of like a huge bike rodeo sort of thing. They call it a traffic garden.
Well, that's not a bike rodeo. They're 2 different things.
Okay.
So that's it. And she doesn't want to do a bike rodeo because she wants to focus on the traffic garden. So I understand what you're talking about. And we had a conversation about that last week. And so we will look to do something in Curie Beach, absolutely. But we don't want to dilute what they're doing with that celebration and the traffic garden.
Is that something we could should add to the calendar? To our Cape Fear cyclist calendar, the children's bike garden for kids. Saturday, April 9th.
I don't see any reason why not. It's just as long as there's an explanation of what it is.
Is there a website set up?
I don't know. I could find out from Mo and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. She and I are working to arrange a call. Hopefully, we'll be talking tomorrow about some of these things that she's working on.
I just had one quick question for you, Kitty. And I remember when we did the one-on-one training in Curry Beach, Tammy mentioned that she used to do a short version of training for bike leaders. And I'm not sure what that is, but she said she used to do it at one of the restaurants around here. I suspect there's probably interest in a shorter version. I mean, it'd be nice to get people to go to one-on-one, but I don't know. We're having a hard time getting bike leaders.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't want to scare anybody off, but
I certainly can get with Tammy on that. She and I talked just before Christmas, and but I mean, what we did at Curie Beach was definitely pared down. And I can find out more details about what that involves, but without, I mean, I don't want to dumb it down, if you will, and I'm using that phrase loosely. We can get a lot of information in 5 hours, like what we did at Curie Beach. I don't know how much more we can drop it down. That said, I will talk to her and get the specifics about what that is that she was talking about, because I don't know.
yeah, so the only reason I know about it is because she talked to me about it when I was at that training, and
Yes.
so I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, if it's something that's important, which I'm happy to help or do whatever.
Okay.
It sounded like it made sense.
Yeah. It was basically just getting through the holidays, and Tammy's had some issues with her son. So, looking to follow up with her also. It's just a lot of irons in the fire. My concern is that when some of these things start popping, all of a sudden it's going to be a little overwhelming. As the education coordinator, I feel the need to be at the 101s, lead the 101s. I view my responsibility to the club for paying for my training, obviously. And then trying to do at least a few of the bike rodeos aimed at the kids, which I think is huge. And then we have another initiative in town that's moving forward, which is basically, looking at it, approaching it from the standpoint of educating motorists. So I'm involved in that also. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. When I'm able to report things to y'all, you're just going to be overwhelmed. I'm just telling you right now. Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that. Any more questions for Kitty? Okay, then Bridget, you're with us tonight. We ran long and you're still here, so that's great.
I am, yeah. I luckily I don't have class on Mondays, so
yeah, that's great.
I can stay with you guys. I have the brochures finalized, but Wayne has really kind of taken point on getting the quotes and everything, so I'm gonna pass it to him to talk about the brochures. Unfortunately, with school and everything, I haven't had too much time to work on the time trial series, but knock on wood, I'll be finished in April and can step up on that. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, it was good to hear that time trials are covered under our insurance, and I didn't realize that in the past, but it is covered, as long as they're racing the clock and not each other. That's the thing. So that's what time trial. So Wayne, you want to bring us up to date on the brochures?
Yes, I make a motion that we print 1,000 copies of Bridget and Eileen's brochure for a cost of about $770.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
And
Bridget,
all
you
in
did a
favor?
great job.
All in favor? Yeah, let's do that thing. Get them out in the bike shops. Great.
Yep.
Get more people riding with us. I love it. And then we go with Charlie with the new insurance. What are we gonna do now? We got the insurance to do the, we got the
We're
rides
gonna-
going in.
We're gonna hopefully not use it. That is the main goal, is for it to sit there and
That's
never,
a good
never
one.
have a claim made.
It's a great
Yeah,
goal.
so took a little break from any gravel rides, just November and December, and we're getting back going now with something on the calendar for February. So really excited about that, to get some more gravel rides back going. Been in conversation with Greg Brinson over at Cape Fear Sorba. He and I also spent quite a bit of time trying to nail down a time in November and December, and it just kind of, it got away from us. But what we're trying to do is they have about 15 mountain bikes, and we're trying to have an intro day, and we're going to get a couple folks, him and myself. And we're like I said, we're in the early planning stages, but basically just have an intro to a mountain bike ride. One of us will go with a small group of 2 or 3 and take them just in a short loop, and then he'll take a few, and we'll just kind of be doing that throughout the day and just kind of be out there all day. So really excited about just working with him and hopefully getting something going on with the, if people want to get more into a single track trail. So that's about all from the gravel bike side. I don't have too much else to report at this time. One thing I will, and I don't want to open up too much, Mark, but I had an idea after you were talking about with ride leaders. I know this is kind of getting off, but maybe we figure out some sort of point system. Everything in my world, rental car points, hotel points, everything like that keeps you coming back. So maybe we figure out some sort of point system to entice ride leaders. And I don't know, at the Tour de Blueberry, they get to cut the line for the porta potty.
Yeah.
When I say, I rode at an event where I, because of my fundraising, and I'm gonna tell you what, that was a really nice thing, was to get to go to the front line of the porta potty. But just keep it in mind, maybe some sort of thing to encourage people to get, be a ride leader. And at the end of the year, you got some sort of point system. They get to sit first at the picnic table.
Here's
or
one, free
something.
meals at all the social events.
Or something. Yeah, something. So maybe something like that to help you with the ride leaders.
I love that.
So,
Something.
all right, that's all I got.
The point is, he's right. We need an incentive, because what we have isn't working.
So
I wouldn't
that's all
say
I
it
got.
isn't working. It's just, it'd just be nice to have more
Well,
backup.
we're not gaining any. So I would say it's not working. We're not gaining any. We have the same few people, in your words.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right. That's correct.
So we need to recruit them. So yeah, just incentives are good. They work. I agree with him.
I would
So
suggest
Charlie, is
they're
this
all there. They're all there. They just are reluctant to take responsibility.
Yeah, and just on a negative side, I don't know what the bribe would be. I don't know, if how strong personalities are that I could say, well, hey, how about $50 a ride if you lead it for us, or something, that they really want to jump up and do it, and take on that's a real extreme number. But if I said $5 a ride, I don't know, it's 20 rides, $100. But if I said $35 a ride, then some people say, I want to lead this ride, $35.
I don't think we want to do anything to mess with the budget.
Right?
Yeah, no.
You're going to have to arm wrestle Tony. for that.
I was thinking more of just stuff to, cut in line or sit first
I
at the picnic
the
table.
idea
Yeah.
of points that you can cash in for whatever you want. Like, you could even save up enough points where you can get into the Tour de Blueberry for free. Like, that's your
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
registration, or
Free
Or
Yeah,
your
yeah.
membership,
You're right.
your annual.
or your membership for the next year.
Free,
Yeah.
free
Great.
meal. Yeah, free work.
Great.
You don't have to. We don't have to pay them.
Or each point puts you in a lottery for a jersey. So the more points you have, the more chances you have in
Yep.
the Jersey
Good
lottery.
one, Wayne.
That's good. Mhm.
Very good.
So Charlie, I had a question about this introduction to the mountain bikes. Are you going to have bikes that I could go out there and ride? Like if I don't have a mountain bike, I could borrow somebody's mountain bike and ride it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Cape Fear Sorba actually has about 15 bikes that they have kind of just ready for kind of to demo. And we
Wow.
also we're talking with Cape Fear Cycle or Cape Fear, we are Cape Fear two-wheeler dealer also said that you know, they could probably, depending on where we're at with you know, right now it's tough, but depending on where we're at with sales, they may would be able to let out a couple of demo bikes at the same time. You know, but no, yeah, we definitely would have bikes for folks to try.
Wow. That I've never heard that one before. I would be interested.
Yeah. Now we
Yeah,
probably don't have
sounds-
anything as advanced enough for you, Phil. You know.
Oh, right. Yeah. Thank you.
You know,
Right.
but
Right.
we will see.
And
We
I'm-
will see what we can get.
I'm on a
maybe,
7-speed.
We'll
I
maybe
think
get
everybody else has got more gears than I've got. I've got a 7-speed, so I don't know. Yeah. Thank you so much, Charlie. It's a great report. So is there any other business or anything that anybody wants to discuss that they think of we need to add? Walking it right in at 7:30. It's a good time to wrap it up. If nobody else has anything.
A question for Wayne. Where does the trailer stand?
Good one.
Yeah, good question. So I purchased replacement lights and we have an estimate from someone to install the lights and make the other repairs that Tammy identified. Tammy has been, how can I say it, working on a date to bring the trailer over and start the work. Based on what Kitty is saying, we've got some time pressure here. We need to have a working trailer to support a March event or one of these events that has been requested by Kitty. So I'm hoping that we can get it in for service this weekend and get it out in, say, by the end of February.
Is it within the $700 estimate?
Yes.
Okay.
Looks like the next meeting will be March 28th.
Let's have dinner.
It's time to eat, that's for sure. Yeah. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for starting
Thank
the
you. Hey,
year
everybody.
51 at a bang. We got a lot done, so I think it's good. Going to move this thing forward. Keep it going. Keep it
Phil.
going for the next group of people. Thank you all for showing up.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good night.
Yeah.
Night.
night.
Good night, everybody.